Gettysburg, Manassas, Antietam, Shiloh, Sherman's March to the Sea. These are a few of the battles and pivotal moments of the U.S. Civil War, and they are amongst the most well-known. Countless other battles claimed life and limb during those 4 years, but only one claimed VMI cadets in the only instance of American history where a college student body was called to march into battle. In the spring of 1864, the South was slowly losing the war, and on the defensive after losing at Gettysburg the year before. With a smaller, free population to draw upon and no immigrants to draft, the Confederacy's army had shrunk as the Unions grew. Matters were worsened by a northern blockade against trade goods from places like England, which remained neutral despite Southern attempts to get them to join the South in the same fashion that France had once joined the original 13 colonies against England. That May, a Union army marched up the Shenandoah Valley intent on cutting off the Virginia Central Railroad at the town of Staunton, which would cut the supply line to General Robert E. Lee's army. Approximately 1,500 Confederate soldiers were stationed in the valley at this time, against the larger northern force. In these conditions, Confederate Major General John Breckinridge wrote the following message to the superintendent of the Virginia Military Institute. "Sigel is moving up the valley, was at Strasburg last night. I cannot tell you whether this is his destination. I would be glad to have your assistance at once with the cadets and the section of artillery. Bring all the forage and rations you can." Now, both men did not want to send boys into war, and it was expected that the cadets would merely provide support from behind the actual army. The boys themselves had different ideas. At an average age of 16, the cadets were far more eager for battle than the army veterans they joined. The veterans were also not pleased to have the VMI Corps along. In their pristine uniforms and perfectly polished muskets, they were easy targets for salty comments from the battle-tested old-timers. The Battle of New Market on May 15, 1864 was fought between a total of 6,000 Union troops and an approximate 5,000 Confederate troops, which included the cadets. The cadets themselves were stationed in an orchard behind a rail fence that separated them from a wheat field and shielded them from the ongoing battle. The VMI Corps was only sent into the fight late to plug an emerging gap in the Confederate line. After the 51st Virginia Infantry retreated in confusion caused by Northern artillery fire, General Breckinridge reluctantly ordered, "Put the boys in, and may God forgive me for the order." With enthusiasm, the cadets quickly climbed over the rail fence and marched with parade ground precision into the wheat field as the artillery strikes came. Their 24-year-old colonel was quickly wounded, replaced by a 22-year-old captain who led them for the rest of the day. So eager were they to charge the enemy line about 100 to 150 yards away that they had difficulty finding time to reload and shoot their old-fashioned muskets. The muddy wheat field didn't help as it quickly sucked the boots from their feet and garnered the name the Field of Shoes as a result. The Confederate charge broke the Union line and sent them retreating. The Corps pursued them until Breckinridge was forced to give a direct order to halt in the mid-afternoon. The cadets were credited with capturing between 60 to 100 prisoners, and at least one Union artillery gun during their baptism of fire. Of the 257 cadets, 57 were wounded and 10 were killed during the battle. 2 days later, a Union force under General David Hunter retaliated by raiding and burning down the Virginia Military Institute because of the Corps' role in the Battle of New Market. Not every opposing soldier felt as General Hunter did, though. Years after the war, a Union veteran of the battle wrote of the cadets' charge, "As a military spectacle, it was most beautiful, and as a deed of war, it was most grand. When such young men fall in a cause in which they believe, whether it is intrinsically right or wrong, one may realize the sadness of cutting off a life so full of promise, yet all, those who approved and those who opposed the cause they died for, will accord them the tribute of sincere respect and admiration. I don't believe the history of war contains the record of a deed more chivalrous, more daring, or more honorable than the charge of these boys to a victory which veterans may well boast. Unlike many who die in war, the 10 cadets are honored at VMI each May 15th from 1866 to the present day with a ceremony. 10 current cadets are chosen as stand-ins during a roll call where each name is answered with "died on the field of honor," in front of a commemorative statue which marks the graves of 6 of those cadets. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this trip into history. Leave a comment or a like and subscribe, as there's always more history.